So at the beginning of 2024, I moved to Portugal with my family and built a studio in an old farmhouse. It was always my dream to live in the south and to have a big house with a lot of space, no neighbors where I could make music. Hey, good morning and welcome to day 6 of the Rapid Flow studio build in Portugal. Yeah, today was super misty, but the sun has come out now. Let me show you how far I got yesterday. And yeah, I'm super excited today to actually be able to finally wire in all the synths and get some sounds out of the studio. We got the sun coming in. Today I managed to do all the digital systems, all the monitors, all the converters, all the Thunderbolt stuff, getting all the iLogs and everything to recognize again after having been used on different systems for a while is all up and running now. And someone I was chatting with today made a really good point. That's all the stuff you don't have to do when you're running basically the Rapid Flow Infinity stuff from the comfort of your DAW, because all the tracking of all those synths and all that work is already poured into the template and into the synths that are in there. So you spare yourself this mayhem of just dealing with hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of cables. And of course it's super fun to use this equipment and I'm really happy to have it. But I have to say I had a lot of fun composing with the Rapid Flow bundle when I was traveling. And the low end of my tracks, the drums, everything sounded exactly the way it sounds when I'm using it in the studio here. So just a little plug after someone pointed out, like, that's a big advantage for your customers not to have to deal with that stuff. Good morning. Here, getting my cables sorted to hook in the instruments all to the mixer and then to the patch bay. And then from there, hopefully be able to run the first tests and recordings today and check that all the equipment's working properly, that all the routing and phases is okay. And then we should be on our way to actually start using the studio from tomorrow onwards. All right, so this is the end of the 7th day. Synths are all up and running. We're actually listening to the Performer now. That's up and running, going through the mixer with some effects. Starting to get my controllers also going. I think I'm gonna take a break tomorrow and just hang a bit. Hey everyone, my amazing 4-year-old son is making this video so I can show you what it is that I'm up to. I'm going to be cutting 5-centimeter pieces off of this cheap blue foam, and that's going to become spacers to actually move the acoustic foam off the back wall, which is Basotect, which is what I recommend everyone to use. It's cost effective, it sounds really good in the sense that it absorbs a lot, and it's fire retardant. So this is what we're up to today. I wanted to show you what I've put together. These are basically the elements that are going to get put on the wall. This is loose, this is just to keep them straight while this dries. So what I've done is I've glued these sort of styrofoam, tougher styrofoam pieces to this Basotect, and that will space it that far off the wall, and then these ones will be mounted on the wall. I'm just going to try using nails that don't have a big head and just knock them into the wall and then pin this through the nail. I hope that that holds and works with these walls, because actually we found out now this house is 111 years old and the walls are massive. They're like almost 1 meter thick, but they're basically rocks and compressed sand. So yeah, it's interesting to try to attach things securely to these walls, but okay, I think it'll work. Anyway, these things don't weigh anything. The other thing that I got is to build a cloud to absorb reflections from the ceiling. And even though the ceiling is wood and angled, yesterday I started running some music in here, and I realized actually the room is very live. So my plan is I've bought some wooden beams and I'm going to make a cloud and just hang that over my head, sort of in the midway point between my seat and the monitors. And that'll get rid of quite a lot of the reflections coming off of the ceiling. All right, so I've let these dry for about 6 hours now, and I've just checked and they're super fastened. So always tricky to figure out what the right glue is for Basotect and styropor and things like that. So I've used something from Uhu, which is specially for styrofoam. So in case you end up doing this, the glue from Uhu for styrofoam seems to be the ticket. Smallish nails. Oh, the head is small. The nails are quite long.
And yeah, I plan to put these into the wall and then just basically knock that panel on top of it or squeeze it into it. As you can see, the weather's perfect for studio upgrades, so let's get to it. I've got these pretty long nails with a small head. I think these are like carpenter's nails that are used for woodwork normally. And so I've just smacked 2 into the wall here, roughly at the right height, because I'm just gonna stick the back of this panel on there. So as you can see, there's just this foam here, which means I can just like nail it to that nail in the wall and it's done. And now a very, very important little point. Always use safety goggles or your glasses, but safety goggles of course is best when you're doing stuff like this. I literally was putting a nail in the wall in this room on that picture there a couple of days ago, and on the 3rd hit the nail jumped out of the wall and went right into what would have been the middle of my eye if I hadn't been wearing my seeing glasses, which actually had a intuition that I should wear them. I normally don't wear them much except in front of the screen, so got these safety goggles since then, and I can only say always make sure you're wearing safety goggles when you're doing work around the house, fixing up your studio, putting up acoustic panels. Eyes are a pretty important thing to have in the studio. All right, so let me try this now and see if it'll work. All right, that's it. The first panels are up, and actually this technique of pinning styrofoam to the wall on just a couple of nails, it works really well. It's super easy to adjust in case you didn't get the height quite right. I probably should have measured all this, but I ended up just using a piece of cable to keep the distance equal and just eyeballing the height and the levelness. You know, that panel's like a tad maybe higher, but hey, I'm here to make music, not to like do optical stuff with my acoustics. So I can definitely hear the difference already. This area already feels much more quiet, like not so much echoes and halls flying around. Which is going to be actually way better once the cloud gets up here above my head, which I still have to build to put together the frame for it and then hang these 4 more Basotect pads. Considering how close it's going to be to a fireplace also, very important that all this stuff is fire retardant. I generally only use foams that have a high fire retardant rating. So yeah, the Basotect is the same. So yeah, this is the progress today with the acoustics. It's starting to look and it's starting to sound like a studio. So I'm excited. All right, 1 or 2 more panels. Well, actually 1 more panel to put up, and then I'm going to call it a day. Hey everyone, today is the final day of the studio build because all I have left to do is build a cloud, something to put over my head there. All right, so this is the materials. Got some pieces of wood to build a frame, got some nylon rope to hang it, got some pretty heavy duty hooks to hang it with, because actually, believe it or not, friends of mine used to build these, and these hooks can straighten out and panels fall on your head. So better safe than sorry and get yourself some really heavy duty ones. And then I have these hooks to make the corners of the wood, some screws of course, some white paint to paint the wooden frame. And this is the material that I use, Basotect, which is the acoustic absorption material that if I speak even into it, you can hear already how much it absorbs. It's really quite amazing stuff. So here's an update on the cloud. I have glued the Basotect panels to the wooden frame. These wood pieces are lying on there to press the panels into the glue. And I'll leave it here for a bit, and then I'll move the whole thing indoors. All right, today is a big day. Finishing the build of the studio. My friend Chris is going to help me attach the cloud to the ceiling. My neighbor has lent me this amazing contraption. I have no idea what these are called in English, because we have to go pretty high up. So Chris has just explained to me a very cool technique. You want to explain what you've done here?
Yeah, so we take this rope and make a loop, and take these cable binders and yeah, make them very stiff.
I was gonna make some funny knots, but this looks way more solid. Very nice. Chris's amazing system. You got it very straight. And yeah, up here it's catching. There you can see the speakers. That's where they'll bounce and they'll no way have a path back to my head. All right, so the job is complete. The panel is up with some LEDs in between, which is actually something that I took from a AI generated suggestion for a studio. Thank you, Chris, for being the helping hands in the final step of finishing the studio. I just have to clean up this mess here and then it's done. The studio, the new Rapid Flow studio in Portugal is finished.